From the temple town of Ayodhya. Yesterday, Jan 22nd, was the inauguration of the Ram temple, and the Pran Pratishtha finally over. It's time for business to take off. Estimates suggest that as many as 5 crore people from across the world are likely to travel into the temple town. What has been the math of the Ayodhya project thus far? The temple construction cost has been about 1,800 crore rupees. Add to that, the government of India, the government of Uttar Pradesh, cumulatively likely to invest as much as $10 billion at today's exchange rate of about 83 rupees to a dollar. That's likely to be an investment of 83,000 crore rupees. 83,000 crore rupees to accommodate 5 crore tourists every year. Each tourist spending even a very meager 2,500 rupees on that trip to Ayodhya closes the math pretty well, suggesting that the government's investment will break even well before the 10-year mark that the government has set out for the Ram temple city of Ayodhya to be visited. Joining me today is my friend and colleague Amit Ranjan. Amit, a lot of data emerging. In fact, yesterday we saw the who's who from the world of business and the world of entertainment. Celebrities like Amitabh Bachchan, Abhishek Bachchan, South Indian star Chiranjeevi, corporate leaders including the entire clan of the Ambani family, Mukesh Ambani, brother Anil Ambani, Neeta Ambani, Isha Ambani, Anant Ambani, and the who's who was present yesterday. But I think the top story that's really emerging is land prices in Ayodhya that have gone through the roof. In fact, estimates suggest that land prices have escalated as much as 5 times between 2019 and 2024 and are likely to go up another 20 times in the next 10 years or so. What is the data that you're making sense of here?
Yeah, so like you said, land prices have gone through the roof. There are quite a few high net worth individuals who are investing in land in Ayodhya. Apart from all the hospitality majors who are coming in, Taj is coming in, lesser known individuals like Kamath Hotels is coming in,
yeah.
Marriott is following. It's a matter of time before ITC, Radisson is following. So land prices are going through the roof. The biggest gainers are the farmers who have basically cashed in. It is going to be an infra-driven growth. Right now, you mentioned the amount of tourists that are expected. Right now, all Ayodhya has is 17 hotels and 590 rooms.
Okay.
40 new hotels are under construction. 73 new hotels are in the pipeline. So that is the quantum of growth that this city is expecting. Apart from that, the clustering effect, once high net worth individuals start coming into this, aspirational entrepreneurs will follow, and that will be a whole new economy. Not just tourism. Tourism is still the biggest draw, yeah. As far as religious tourism is still the biggest draw as far as tourism in India goes. And this government plans to make Ayodhya the hub. 15,700 crores rupees worth of projects have been inaugurated by PM Modi. The new airport is going to be $170 million worth in 2 years. It is expected to handle as many as 10 lakh tourists per day.
10 lakh tourists a day.
I'll just correct that figure exactly what it is.
Because estimates right now suggest that you will see tourism of, and the range is actually from about 1 crore per year to about 5 crore per year. Yeah. So I think on an average, even if you look at a pessimistic side of 1 crore tourists, you're looking at about 30,000 flocking in every day. Yeah. Take it 5 times over, about 1.5 lakh tourists a day seems like a decent figure, given the fact that IRCTC is upping its capacity to draw in about 60,000 tourists every day, and the balance through roadways or airways, as the case may be. Yeah.
The capacity of this airport, the $175 million worth,
yeah.
In 2 years, it will have the capacity to handle
about 1 million passengers
a day.
Wow. So that is obviously a big number. I was fascinated, Amit. I don't know if you had a chance to look at the front page of the Times of India today. The house of Abhinandan Lodha launching real estate projects in Ayodhya. Starting price of 1.72 crore rupees per house. And guess who's the brand ambassador? None other than Mr. Amitabh Bachchan, who himself has invested in Ayodhya. So real estate is obviously one part of the story. I think the other part of the story is the entire connectivity which is coming into the town. So the Gorakhpur-Faizabad highway is obviously now fully built, ready, and that is going to see traffic coming in from the eastern side of the country into Ayodhya. And then, of course, you've got Lucknow, which again is an airport and the capital of Uttar Pradesh. But what is really fascinating right now is that over the last 5 years, and leave the last 30 years since this whole controversy came into public imagination about the Ram Janmabhoomi versus the Babri Masjid, which had to be, which was in fact brought down in the year 1992. But the needle has not really moved on the per capita income in Ayodhya. In fact, if you look at the data emerging, it shows that the per capita income in Ayodhya is just about 24,000 compared to Uttar Pradesh's average of about 36,000 and the national average of about 90,000. Now, with tourism, with religious tourism flourishing, there are obviously going to be some improvements. But do you think, in your estimation, that is something which is likely to move the needle anytime in the next 1 year, 2 years or so, until all the 3 phases of the temple are fully constructed?
2 years, yes, because that is the time they have given for the construction of at least the airport and the renovated railway facility.
Right.
Now, with the, like I mentioned, once with industry coming in, and you look at the location of Ayodhya, it could be a cluster of religious tourism. You have Varanasi not far away.
Right.
So it could be, and then there is Sarnath next to that.
Yes.
So it could be a cluster not just of religious tourism, but once with high net worth individuals coming in and aspirational entrepreneurs coming in, the snowballing effect can take you anywhere.
Absolutely.
The UP government is expecting an additional tax revenue of 25,000 crores with the coming of the religious tourism in Ayodhya.
25,000 crore rupees additional revenue coming in by way of taxes. That, of course, is fascinating. But, you know, just to draw some comparison here in numbers, and I'm talking about religious tourism across the world. Now, what are the most iconic religious tourism centers in the world? You've got the Mecca, you've got the Vatican City, and now Ayodhya is touted to be the sort of Vatican City alike for Hindu tourists from across the world. And these numbers are staggering. The Vatican City, which is the hub for Christianity-based tourism, attracts just about 9 million tourists in a year from across the world. Mecca attracts just about 20 million, and this is data which has come from Fitch just yesterday. Ayodhya is likely to be almost double of both of these combined. Both of these combined is about 29 million. On a pessimistic scale, Ayodhya is likely to expect about 50 million tourists every year. Obviously, there is one aspect of enough hotels being built. There is one aspect of enough avenues to get into the city, whether it is roadways, railways or airlines. But I think the foremost concern right now that emerges is management of these tourists. The safety, the security, the comfort, the ease of visiting the Ramlala, the ease of navigating in the rest of the city, and enough and more attractions coming up. We haven't seen too many announcements when it comes to other tourist attractions outside of the Ram temple. Anything you've picked up on what the government's plans are?
There is, of course, the plan that is in the news these days, that even the new masjid that's going to be built is going to be a very fascinating structure and magnificent structure. So that is going to add to the whole tourism. And like I said, once the clustering effect, once that many tourists are coming, you need to have infrastructure, not just hospitality, but even healthcare has to be developed.
Right.
FMCGs will flow in big numbers.
Right.
And like the snowballing effect, how far it goes, it's just a matter of time for all of us to see.
Absolutely. But, you know, while we're talking data, while we are talking the economy of Ayodhya, and while we are talking broadly, you know, in terms of the per capita income, I think it's important also to pick up some of these statistics that you mentioned about healthcare, education, etc., and pull up those numbers, because that is another fascinating story. Because Ayodhya already seems to be pretty much at par with the state capital Lucknow when it comes to the number of educational institutions and the number of hospitals. In fact, in many counts, surpassing Noida, Gautam Budh Nagar, which is incidentally a part of the National Capital Region. Look at those numbers there. if you were to compare, let's say, banks, colleges, universities, hospitals, in fact, Ayodhya already has more number of hospitals than Lucknow. I mean, this seems to be government hospitals. This is government data, not private hospitals. So you have government infrastructure already in place. You've got 4 municipalities versus 1 in Lucknow. You've got 2 postal facilities versus 1 in Lucknow. You've got 2 electricity grids versus 1 in Lucknow. But you've got, almost the same number of colleges, well, a smaller number of colleges and universities. So the government infrastructure is there. Do you think private capital is now likely to flow into any of these essential services to make Ayodhya as livable a city as, let's say, a Lucknow or a Noida? Or is the focus for corporate India or global corporate houses likely to only be temple tourism and nothing else?
It's going to be demand pull driven. If we have an airport, if we are looking at an airport that is world class, then the tourists who are coming in will expect everything else to be of that standard.
Okay.
So whether it is universities, hospitals, right now they're only government hospitals, but the private ones are, it's just a matter of time that they will follow, and they will have to be world class if they have to attract that kind of aspirational, not just investors, and tourists, but even entrepreneurs who are going to follow the high net worth individuals who are expected to come into this town.
All right. Well, a lot of people continue to be bullish. A lot of businesses continue to be bullish on the temple town of Ayodhya. Government's investment of $10 billion likely to pay off much sooner than all of that corpus is exhausted over the next 10 years. But of course, that is a story we'll have to wait and watch for. Remember, we have been talking about Ayodhya stocks also, and word coming in from a lot of market analysts suggesting that these headline events come and go, and fundamentals need to be followed when investment for the long-term, long horizon is concerned. So is this also going to be a fleeting event where announcements are made, where promises are made, but not too many takers? Or is this really going to change the fate of the city of Ayodhya, the fate of Uttar Pradesh and tourism in India, which is right now just a meager 7% of the GDP? That, of course, is a story we will have to follow over years.